Welcome to the Guntersville Grass Roots podcast. We're here at the end of February of 2025. It's 80 degrees outside, and for some reason, me and Trey and some special guests, yes, Trey's here for the first time in, I don't know, months.
It's been a minute.
He's alive. He's still got a lot of hair.
I just got a haircut.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You need your money back.
That's what I've heard that a few times.
Anyway, welcome to the Guntersville Grass Roots podcast. It's almost springtime. My nose says it's springtime. As normal, we are presented by RecLending, and today in our house, we have three of the RecLending crew. We have the boss man, and I'm not sure how the other ones rank, but I think they're the workers, and I think
Dustin's actually my son-in-law.
Okay.
And he runs a sales department.
Okay.
Brandon is a salesman.
And speaking, we have Todd.
I'm sorry, Todd.
Todd is the owner of RecLending. And as I've said on every one of these, except the one I forgot one time, if you're if you're in the market to buy a boat or an RV, RecLending.com. That's RecLending.com. They helped me out about a year ago, which is actually how we got here. So that's I was going to tell that little story. I'll try not to get too long-winded on that. But a little over a year ago, about a year ago, I'd had the same bass boat for 20 years. Been a good one. I changed the motors once. It was still okay, but they just start giving you little problems. Trey knows, he bought a new motor, and I found a boat that I was going to buy, and I couldn't decide how I was going to buy it. I had a few different options, and I had seen RecLending mentioned on various social media ads. I had seen it on maybe something that Phoenix was running at the time, because I looked at a Phoenix, and I ended up buying a Skeeter just strictly because of money. Sure. I got a really good deal that I couldn't say no to, and it was a lot nicer than my 20-year-old Procraft that I really enjoyed that 21-foot boat. And then if I can catch as many fish in this one as I did that one, which I have not taught it how to do yet. But anyway, long story short, I picked up the phone. I'm like, I'm just going to call RecLending and talk to them. I don't know anything about them other than you see positive reviews online. And guy answers the phone, and I start talking, and I said something about being around Guntersville, and he goes, well, man, I was just there. And I'm like, no kidding. Well, come to find out, this whole group, plus probably some more of you buddies, were here fishing the Angler's Choice event last year, and they're back now. They've been fishing. They're going to tell us some fish stories here in a minute, I hope. And well, as luck would have it, I got Mr. Todd Dreysse here on the phone. And I think about 30 minutes into that conversation, we actually got to talking about boat loans, because for a little while we talked about fishing in Guntersville, and then it went on a little ways, and he was talking about trying to gain some exposure down here, and I went, well, I have this website that I've had for 11 or 12 years now. I'd have to go back and do the math, and I said it's kind of turned into the main hub for all Guntersville tournament related stuff, and really, so we got talking, and somehow or another now I have a title sponsor and a couple of few new friends, and they've been down here fishing for. Well, you came down
Thursday. I was down here.
It was cold when you got here.
Yeah, Wednesday. We left on Wednesday. Got here on Thursday.
So just for the record, Todd has a mic. Brandon and Dustin don't. They're here for moral support and an occasional cackle. So if you, or if Trey needs discipline. Yeah. So if Trey needs a little discipline, but Todd, before we get into it too much, tell me a little bit about how you got into what you're doing.
It's a pretty good story. Well, remember Champion Bass Boats? I do. I was the territory rep for Champion in 2006 and 2007, just before they went bankrupt. And they had this giant territory, had all these dealers. And then all of a sudden one day I didn't have a job. And in a previous job, I was paid through the finance office. So I was the general manager of a boat store, and they paid me through the finance office. So I knew how to do it. I understood the lending part of it. I knew the banks, how to work it. Well, all my dealers would call me and they would say, can you help me get this loan hung? Can you help me get this guy approved? This guy's got a problem. He needs this much money done, whatever. He'd ask him whatever questions. And I was doing it for him. I was just all my dealers. So I was sitting at a dealership in Piqua, Ohio, and one of my dealers had just called and asked if I could help him with a deal, and got it hung. Did the deal in like an hour, And I called my wife and I said, we're not making any money. I said, let's see if we can't make a lick at this. And we literally invented it. And that was 18 years ago. And oh gosh, I can't tell you how many billions of dollars loaned. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Right. How many years ago?
18.
18.
Yep.
That,
started with $86. literally $86. That's all we had left.
So you're, for lack of a better word, you're a broker of boat loans.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That can be a pejorative term at times, but now that I think that we've massaged the lenders and massaged the relationships, that it's not quite so much a broker anymore. It's a facilitator. So now, okay, so a bank goes to 30 different dealerships and signs up 30 different dealerships to lend their money. They got 30 different people they got to deal with. They've got 30 different contract packages that aren't all correct. They've got all of these callbacks. They've got all these people they got to chase. And the tendency is getting to where the lenders are coming to us now and saying, we don't want to go to the dealer. We want to go to you. Get the same contract package. You get all this stuff that's consistent. They know who to call. If there's a problem, they know they call one person.
Right.
And so it's kind of taken a little different turn.
You didn't necessarily see that coming.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, we literally started the person-to-person stuff. I mean, we're the only country in the country that would, if you wanted to buy a boat, you live in Oklahoma, wanted to buy one out of Nebraska, that's a really complicated transaction. I mean, titling, liens, payoffs, all that stuff is just, I mean, it's really complicated. And we started that. That's probably half of our business now. I mean, even though a lot of guys are still buying from dealers, one of the probably the proudest is we got so that professional comes to us. Okay, he doesn't trust some kid in a dealership running his credit. Okay, he's very protective of it. He's a doctor, he's a lawyer, he's a whatever it is,
sure.
And we end up being the surrogate buyer and financier for him. I mean, how many times do we end up being the one talking to the salesperson at our dealership and
you getting feet kicked back from the dealers not wanting to deal with that?
Once in a while.
I mean, I know you've got some pretty good relationships with a lot of dealers that you're kind of their guy, right?
Yep.
And
there's still a lot of them out there that feel like we're competing with them for that finance dollar. And legitimately we are, but all we're going to do is get them a deal that they would not have gotten.
Oh, that's 100% how I ended up with you. I mean, the guy at the boat dealership now, he told me, he said, you really don't want my rates. And I was fortunate to have really good credit, and I was in a good position. I mean, I didn't want to write a check for a boat, but, which probably would have been a smart thing to do. But I mean, your guys' rates were a whole lot more competitive. So, which leads me to another question. Can you refinance a boat loan?
Yes.
Have you done much of that since things have dropped in the last year?
Yes, we have, excuse me, probably 10 or 20% of what we've done for the past 6 months have been nothing but refis. I mean, we went at it when the rates started going up, we had a game plan. So everybody we talked to is, don't worry about it. We got a software system that lets us know when it's time to refinance. When it gets down, and the rate drops typically 1.5 or more, that it pays for them to do it. I mean,
sure, based on, it's just like a refinance in the house, right?
Exactly.
I mean, you just do the math and see how long it takes you to break even.
They can take a shorter term. They can get a smaller payment. Lots of them lately have been, all of a sudden now their payments, not $750, but it's $600, and thinking, wow, maybe I should just go get a new boat. So that's kind of cool.
What happened to me? My wife, I spent most of March not really fishing except going with somebody once or twice because my boat was in and out of shop. Little nitpick stuff, nothing major, right? And it was a good boat when I sold it, but my wife, and I swear, people looked at me like I was crazy when I didn't jump on it. Start with my wife says, "Why don't you go buy a new boat?" And I said, "Have you priced some things?" I said, it's like you got to sell a kidney to buy a boat, and or two,
Yeah.
But about the second time she said that, and of course, then I'm thinking, what is that going to cost me in the long run? Not the boat,
Right.
the honey favors.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, she was with me. But 2 or 3 of my buddies were like, "Your wife told you to buy a boat, buddy. You go buy a damn boat."
Yeah,
quick,
like right then.
yeah, right then. And Trey, you might know one day.
Yeah. No comment so far, but
I'm not going to go anywhere else because I don't get you in any trouble.
Yeah.
Well, I've had this my new boat just showed up. I didn't bring it down here just because I don't want to break one in down here. Yeah. But it's my 48th boat.
You buy one every year?
Every year, sometimes 2. Just because. Yeah,
are you a brand specific guy?
No, I try to spread it around for all my dealers. Sure. But Gary from Phoenix, we go back a long way, and he's always been a great guy, and he's always been a good friend, and I probably leaning closer to Phoenix now than anything. So, but they do a really good job for me. And
I like their boats, and I would have bought one. It was again, there was just the boat market, as I'm sure you know, and I know you know, and I know you know, the last 2 years, year and a half, been a little funky.
Oh, real funky.
And putting it mildly. Oh, yeah. And so, there were a few deals to go around here or there. When, I mean, if you consider spending that much money on a Toya deal. But, that's a whole nother conversation.
Let's be honest, $60,000 ain't a good deal. No way you look at it.
The wife said to buy it.
Well,
I bet you're not going to buy one for 60.
No. Yeah. No, you're not.
You could get a
well, I'm just saying. I mean, I got a good deal on mine a long time ago and paid over $75 for it. So
Right, and anything under 100's a daggum deal.
Well, you think I'm still running mine? I don't even like it, but I'm still running it. Pisses me off. I'm still going. I'm like, no, I ain't paying 85 or 95 or 105 or whatever it is.
Well, that's why I ran mine as long as I did, and I'm not real mad at a tournament anymore. I don't get to fish enough to stay as competitive as like I did 10 or 15 years ago when I was. Well, I wasn't young like you, but I was younger, and
but it was easier.
Yeah, well, there is that too. Yeah, I played hooky yesterday and fished for about 6 hours, and then got home. My son wanted to play basketball, so I played basketball for about an hour. And this morning when I woke up, I almost needed help. And I'm in decent shape for a 49, almost 50-year-old guy, but still, that was I'm like, I'm getting too old for that.
We've been down for, I think the last time we fished was November. So to come down and jump in a boat for 8 or 10 hours a day, and
throw it a Alabama rig.
You're not in fishing. Dang. Well, you're in fishing shape now, maybe, but you weren't when you got here
Lord,
Thursday.
No.
There is such a thing.
Yeah.
Last night there's 6 of us staying in the house. Last night we got back and we're gonna wait till these guys were coming back. So we were gonna grill some steaks. We were gonna, have a little bit of a thing. So my wife had sent me a contract for something that I needed to read. So I went in the bedroom, I called her, and we chit-chatted for a little while. And I woke up at 1. The phone had fallen off. I was just out. That's not me, but I was tired. And
it happens. There's nothing like fishing tired. And wait till you fish tomorrow, like when you're actually serious about it, right? Y'all's tournament starts tomorrow, right? Thursday, Friday. Yep. All right. I'm expecting 25 pounds in each one of y'all's boats, and then y'all can duke it out over who catches the biggest bag the second day.
I mean,
well, I don't. That's up to your tournament director.
I think I'm just going to go fishing.
I would say, particularly. Well, when you got here, you came Thursday. It was cold. I messaged Dustin and says your weather escape. Close the damn door.
Yeah,
you know. I mean, and he said he'd call it back when he got here, and he did. He did, but it's coming back next week. So, but it's going to be a little different tomorrow. That north wind's going to turn probably. I think I heard the weatherman say gusty. That's never fun. But Guntersville's a unique lake.
You can find a place to hide.
As long as it's not out southwest. If it's out of southwest, go home.
Yeah.
So, I mean, well, that or below the river bridge. You can still find a few places down there, but it's a rough ass ride to get there. So, and I don't care what kind of boat you're
in.
in.
And the few places that's out of the wind ain't got no bass. You still might as well go home.
Yeah,
That's the way it always works.
Or there'll be 100 boats in that one pocket.
So you've been here since Thursday. You came down Saturday. So tell me some fish stories. Tell me what you've seen. Tell me how you go about looking for fish.
Well, Friday we couldn't even get on the water till noon.
Because it was 18 degrees.
Yeah.
It froze.
I was afraid that. Have you ever seen a truck slip down?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen boats slip off the trailers.
Oh, man. I thought, shoot. There was a little boat launch right where we're staying, so we waited till it got above freezing and put it in and went. And that was probably one of our better days. I mean, no, we're not catching them. Yeah. I bet I've wound, I don't know, 150 miles in a rig and on a trap, and I know what I'm looking for. I kind of know what I think we're going to do. But if I'm basing it off of the last couple of days, I'm just going to go fishing tomorrow and have fun.
There's worse things to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it is really like almost 80 today, which is way higher than normal. And I think the high tomorrow is 60, so it's not like it's going to get cold.
Right.
I mean, but Trey, what's it going to do to fish?
Have you seen my tournament results? I don't know if I'm the one to ask that.
So
I would say that I think they're going to bite.
I think they'll bite tomorrow. I think Friday could be tougher, but I think they'll bite tomorrow.
I think they should bite. I mean, it's Guntersville. They're biting somewhere, whether it's for the whole field or just the top 10. They're going to catch them, But
yeah,
I always do.
Agree.
They always do.
They had that rig tournament this past Saturday, that Stealth Lures A-Rig tournament. They had like 45 boats. It was 22 that morning, and the high was like might have made 40.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that mad at a fish anymore, but man, not just the weight, but like the people I talked to that fished it, they were catching 25 or 30 fish in a day, throwing a rig that they don't even normally throw.
Yeah.
Buddy of mine, I saw him at Waterfront. It was cloudy, and Guntersville's backwards. Like if you took a rule book and you go, okay, the fish are supposed to do this, they didn't read that. They normally do something else. So, and we've had that conversation a lot. I mean, and I mentioned this to one of y'all, you get 3 or 4 days of warming here, a lot of those fish jump up in the dirt. I mean, like way shallow. You saw some of that a day or so ago. You said you saw a bunch of grass floating. You thought it was attached, and you got behind it, and it wasn't. It was just floating. But you caught or lost a pretty good fish, and you were probably in less than 2 foot of water. So you can see the bottom, and I don't know why you can't see the fish, but you can. So, so I think it takes 50 pounds to win. It might take more. Somebody might bust 30 one day.
Just depends on the bridge bite.
It does.
The only issue about a bridge bite, though, on a multi-day tournament is he might be boat 1 on the first day and boat 300 on the. I don't know how y'all's boat numbers work.
Yeah, those
flip-flops. Because see, if he catches 30 pounds the first day, he ain't going to get on it the second day, So I don't know. It's just, there's no telling. But that's one of the unique things about Guntersville is that's why a lot of people do good coming from out of town is they just drop the trolling motor and go. And I don't think there's any dead water on Guntersville. I truly don't think so. I think they live everywhere.
Right now they're grouped up. Like you'll have a lot of water, but then all of a sudden you run into them.
Mm-hmm.
And but you saw that. And I mean, how many miles did you go before you? Oh, there's some fish. All of them.
every bass in that creek will be on one point. When you find them.
Now here's the real beauty. Tomorrow, your favorite spot that you want to go fish will probably be covered in floating grass. Mm-hmm. You and about 100 other of your boats in your thing. But come back an hour later, it'll probably be gone. Maybe. So the wind, 100% dictates that. And then when you start getting more boat traffic, I don't know if y'all saw it, but you see a bunch of little green pieces of grass about that long, look like they got clipped off in your yard. That's from people's boat props running around in it, and it floats up. And
I keep thinking to myself, how could there be any grass left in this place?
Because it's covered in it like carpet on the bottom of the lake. Believe it or not, there's a lot less eelgrass right now than there has been in the last few years.
I noticed that last year there was more eelgrass for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
especially on the lower end. There's not anything on the lower end.
I've only been down there once, and I found a little bit, but it really had what I found had more mix than eelgrass. But
which I kind of like. I've noticed more hydrilla coming back over the last 2 years than because they're for about 2 or 3 year stretch. There wasn't no hydrilla, no milfoil, no nothing. It was just solid eelgrass, and that I don't know. Rednecks call it stargrass. I don't know what the technical term for it is, but hangy stuff.
Coontail or
no, I don't know what it is. It's like leafy stuff.
Oh yeah, that believe it or not, that's considered a native grass for here. I forget what that hot. It sucks.
Yeah, it ain't no good.
The fish don't like it.
Yeah,
the fish don't like it.
If you're around that.
There was some of that growing on the edge of the South Salty Creek a couple years ago. Nice little groups of it. And I went, man, that looks like something to flip. And I could still be flipping it. It wasn't called a fish. I mean,
I noticed it'll top out in like 10 feet too. It'll grow all the way to the top. And they do not like it.
No, it grows a bunch on Pine Island now too. And I don't know, those fish left. They moved.
Yeah.
But, so what was y'all's best baits fishing this week for the 3 fish you caught?
Yeah, I caught them on a trap and a rig.
Like, were you throwing red or shad or yes or
red 3/4 ounce?
3/4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big and bombing it.
Yeah.
Burning it. Somebody would have told me at 45-degree water temps, you're catching about 4 feet of water with as absolutely fast as I can turn the handle.
So here's a little something I figured out many years ago, and I am typically more of a milk your trap back and fish it through stuff. But like, when there's no wind, a lot of times it's hard to get a bite on moving baits. When the water's cold, I can't get a bite on anything but a moving bait, which doesn't make sense. Maybe a jig if you had the patience, but I don't. So, but like when it gets slick sometimes, that my method of, milking it back and waiting to catch that piece of grass where you pop it loose, to burning it as fast as you can, like you're trying to steal it from something, will get you a bite. And you may have it hooked in the outside of the corner and it may not choke it like it would the other way, but burning it like that will get you a bite that you won't get. And it is very hard to do. It feels the opposite. Trey's over there going, he shouldn't have said that.
Everybody knows it about now.
Do you fish one fast more than you do slow?
It just depends. I go slow on Guntersville more than anything. I throw, I probably shouldn't say this, but I throw like a 3/8 ounce chatterbait in like 10 feet and I'll crawl it.
That's real slow.
I throw it on like a 6 gear ratio and like literally just like you're slow rolling a swim bait on the bottom offshore. But that's also, I ain't won many tournaments in the spring, so I wouldn't take advice from me. Summertime, I'd be like, you might want to listen, but.
Hey. You want a lot of Tuesday practices.
Yeah, I'd catch them in practice. If there was an award for that and DQs, I'd probably be at the top of the stats.
Well, the best thing going for y'all is like, you don't have a lot of expectations, right? I expect, just from talking to y'all yesterday, I expect 5 keepers from y'all tomorrow. Yep, and I hadn't talked to you much. So, but like, follow them.
I think I can get 5 fish. I have no expectations of what it's going to be. I think if I put my nose down and just go, I think we get 5 fish.
How cold is it where you live right now?
Well, there's 17 inches of ice on my lake.
You know what you're not going to have to deal with here? That. So,
exactly.
So keep it all in perspective.
That's right.
Guntersville's one of those places though you don't really know what you're on when you're practicing. Because you might get 5 or 10 bites and leave, and then it's kind of almost like Florida. You might come back and really put your trolling motor down and fish and weigh in 28. You just don't know.
We did that last year. I got a couple of bites out of one spot, and I thought, I called it the Love Superhighway because it's this ridge that comes up into this flat, It's got all these great big clumps of weeds, and we got a couple of bites. So, we'll start there. And it was the Love Superhighway. We had a 6, a 5, and a 4, and then had to squeak some out. And
right.
Then the next day I dumped the first 4 fish. Yeah, I don't know, about a jig.
Just couldn't keep them on.
They were just eating it funky. And I hit them I throw a jig on a 804 Dobbins.
Yeah.
So it's an 8-foot rod of 4 power. So I got all the backbone I want. And I just don't know what happened. They just.
They're not there this year?
They're not there.
They weren't there the last time you went. It's pretty shallow?
No.
What was deeper?
It come up from 8 or 9 foot up into 5 or 4, a little edge. But
just because they weren't there yesterday don't mean they're not there tomorrow.
It doesn't mean I'm not going to check it. So
because the truth of the matter is right now it's the end of February coming into March, and we've been warm for a few days. They're coming.
Yeah. Everything I've ever seen, every tournament I've ever fished, when I think I'm going to do good, I don't. And when I don't think I'm going to do good, I somehow do good.
I'm not a fan of really strong practices.
Yeah, me either. When that happens, I'm like, oh, gosh.
You hope to get an idea of what's going on out there, and then it'll change on you a little bit. But from a weather standpoint, for y'all have actually seen a great improvement. I mean, it was stupid cold when he got here.
Yeah. It snowed the entire way until we got to Alabama's line. I mean, it would.
Well, we had snow on the ground here Wednesday. We had an
Yep.
inch, and I can do without that. The fish did not care for that, and it rained like 5 inches a few days before that, and then it got, 18, 20. We had a couple days that didn't get above freezing here, and it happens, but it's normally in January. It doesn't happen in December very often, and so the fish had 3 weeks? Well, you've been gone, but 3 weeks ago, the water was warmer than it is now. And there were everybody was catching them. Hell, I went fishing, hadn't even been, and I caught like 12 in 45 minutes. And I'm like, wow, they really are catching them. And I probably had 17 or 18 pounds wow, and on Alabama rig.
Yep.
And now the water's dirtier, and I think that hurts personally. It's getting better. But it's definitely not, it's not where it was, but still my buddies that were out there in that thing last weekend, they were in 4-6 foot of water, throwing Alabama rig. The water was 38 that morning on the surface when they started.
That's weird. Sometimes at Guntersville, when it gets that cold, they'll get with their backs out of the water. It's amazing how shallow they get.
They said they saw a bunch of carp up in like a foot of water. He said, you had it on perspective, right?
Oh, that'll get your heart going.
As I say, are you sure they were carp? So
I've seen them blowing up in lily pads before and be like, I found the juice, and take off running back here. And I'm like, stupid carp, jump all over you, frog, and won't get it.
Run the bass off.
Yeah.
They do too.
That's 2 days. You going home Saturday or Friday night? Or?
No, I think we'll leave Saturday morning sometime.
How long's the trip?
Almost 13 hours.
Ooh.
We may break it up and stay in one of our dealers in Cincinnati area. Offered to put us up and go to dinner and stuff with them. So we may do that Saturday night. We'll see.
That's well, if somebody's going to buy a boat tomorrow, what's the starting step? Just to pick up the phone and call RecLending? How's that process work?
I think you would benefit from a call.
Sure.
What we can do is we do a lot of them, a soft pull. So we can kind of look at your credit, kind of have a conversation about what kind of payment you want to be in, what kind of boat you're looking at, what your wife's wishes are. And then that helps you set yourself up for going shopping. And if the 20-year-old kid comes in and he wants a $112,000 boat, and you got to back him down a little bit, or, my dream boat is a 21 PHX with a 300 on it. Can I afford it? Sure. So then you go shopping for it. Once you know that you can get the money for it, once you know that that the most stressful part of this, I think, for anybody buying is, can I buy it? I know I want it. Can I buy it? Can I afford it? And we'll tell you. If I think you're over shopping, whatever it is you want, all they let me do anymore is talk on the phone. So
it wasn't just about you. You're on the phone a lot. You answer that phone a lot when it rings.
When the soft pull calls come in, somebody looking for a rate and term and that kind of stuff. I dig that. I could talk anywhere, and it's like I said, it's all they let me do.
But it's not like you own the company or anything. So,
so I think there's a real value in, before you walk into a dealership or you start looking for boats online, to take it'd take a half an hour, and you'll know what it is that you could buy. I say this all the time, but I believe we could get within the 90th percentile on what your boat loan will look like before we ever submit it to a bank.
It's not just new boats.
No, any of them. I don't care. And that just takes the stress off it. And we're even getting to the point where, we've got dealers all over the country where if a guy's looking for something specific, there's a leftover skeeter up in Southern Michigan.
Model got a deal somewhere.
The dealers are getting to the point where they'll send us inventory stuff and say, "Hey, I got this. It could be a deal." So we just poke them to them, and
Right, and you don't even sell boats; you sell boat loans. So it's and boat loans and new and used, and RVs as well. Correct. So pull behind, motorized, any of them.
We could probably do any of them.
Any of them.
We don't. RVs are not our strong suit. That's just because, because hell, I've been in the bass boat business for 4 years. But we got a Melissa. She's our RV girl, and she's a rock star. She knows every model on it, all the abbreviations on those things, and how to get them hung. And so,
from a bank standpoint, an RV loan and a boat loan are pretty similar, right? Like they're looking at it from like in their house. It's
still a toy. It's still not a necessity.
Mama still has to approve.
Yep.
So, Trey's getting there. Trey's got this little girl, and I'd mess her name up. He told me, "Tell me your name."
Tegan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. By the way, if you haven't listened to this, he only says positive things about you. There's no negative.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's clear the air right here.
He's talking about he goes down to Auburn and sees her regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Been out of town. He's like, man, I hadn't been to see her. I need to go see her.
I got a 3-year-old truck with 130,000 miles on it.
100 of them are for her, and the 30 are for fishing.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
Trey, what's your schedule look like here in the next few weeks?
I am off right now until I go to Chickamauga for the Toyota Series, like March 14th, I think. And then I go pretty much straight from there to the Classic. Got to work down there, hang out, and then come straight back from there. And then I go to the Tom Bigby River for the next Open, the Bassmaster Open.
Ugh.
Yeah, I just got back from there. If you like jumping stumps, folks listening, go to the Tom Bigby River.
I went once for some little trail classic thing years ago, and I ended up not going to the Classic. I'm like, that's not even going to be fun. It is about the color of this disc all the time, and it's about as deep as this disc, and it's covered in stumps. And the mapping, I mean, this was really
there's no mapping.
Well, this was before we even had that, but so it's still bad.
Oh yeah, the channel's mapped
it's too
out.
shallow to idle.
Yeah, but the channel is about as wide as this table I'm leaned up against, and it's just big enough for a bar. If you were cranking down the bank and a barge come through, you were getting run over. Like it's a little bitty river.
Sounds like a great place to put how many? 250 bucks?
250, let's do it. I don't know what the plan is, where we're all going to go, but whatever, I'll just show up when I'm supposed to, do my job, try to catch a bass somewhere. But they said we could lock to Pickwick or anywhere. There's no limitation.
Pickwick's only, 100 miles?
Well, I mapped it out because I like to do stupid stuff sometimes. And I did my little mapping, and it was 76 miles one way.
How many dams?
7 dams.
Oh, man.
And if my math was right, I think it'd take me about 5.5 hours to get there, which means I can't get there.
If you could...
If I could go and get 2 hours of fishing time, I would do it.
If you could spend the night and just weigh the next day.
Yeah. Just bring 10 fish back, my 2-day total.
Yeah, that might be worth it. But no, that would rank way high on the dumb things.
Well, I did that at Red River, I think it was 78 miles one way, but it was only, I think it was 3 logs. 3 logs. So it wasn't, I still only got 2 hours of fishing time, but I could actually make it down and back. Just blew a lot of gas money.
You did make it.
Oh, yeah, I made it. Well, the first day I had to get somebody to take my fish back because typical swindle luck, I got all the way down there, and as soon as I went through the last lock, my shift actuator went out. Yeah. Yamaha, if you're listening, I love a Yamaha, and I have a Mercury. So just saying. But yeah, that happened.
I don't think our 4 listeners work for Yamaha. But
hey, there's a slim
chance. We might be up to 5 because I had the new guy
I had one last week. It's a 6.
Did you really? 6? All right. So one little story, and then I'll probably need to wrap this up. But I was in Guntersville Tackle this past Saturday, dropping some stuff off for the Bass Cash Bash, which kicks off March 1st, which is just a couple days from now. Unfortunately, you guys are going to be gone. I'd have loved to have your money sign up for that too. But and I was in there dropping some stuff off, and a guy walks up to me and he says, "Hey man, I just want to tell you I really enjoy your podcast." It was him and his son signing up, and like I'm just a dude, so that's still really weird to me. Because and it's happened. I had a guy at Lowe's that works at Lowe's down the road right here that's probably 60 that last year that said, man, I recognized your voice. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. So it's still weird to me. But anyway, I did not get the guy in Guntersville Tackle's name. I'm terrible about that. I really hate it. Appreciate you listening. I hope you hear this part of it. Thank you for coming up and speaking to me. And I think I was nice. If I wasn't, kick me the next time you see me, because I really am a pretty nice guy. But that kind of stuff catches me off guard sometimes, because like I'm just a dude, right? I'm not a swindle. I'm not Trey. Trey's borderline famous. I mean, he's probably the most famous person in this room.
Probably.
Whatever that's worth.
I ain't much.
Well,
I'm just a redneck, likes to fish.
I've got a funny long run story and lock story. So the Wrangler was on the Arkansas River in 94. And of course you can't, everything is south. You got to go as far as you can go. And I was on them, I was catching them. And I knew that all the floodgates on the dam were open. And first morning, I got a camera guy with me. I blew through every one of those floodgates. Never stopped. You could have. Oh yeah, you could have.
This was in 94, right?
94.
Trey wasn't born yet.
Yep.
But
I ain't got nothing on that.
So I get back after the first day, and Dewey Kendrick used to be the tournament director. He pulls me aside. He says, "Somebody's protested you." He said, "You were on plane in a no wake." I said, "Nope, I was in the river. I didn't get at the lock. That's no wake. I was in the river." He says, "Well, you can't do that." I said, "Where does it say I can't do that?" And he's come back about an hour later, and he says, "You can do that." So the next morning, I pull out, and they've reversed the field. Now I'm like 60 boats deep, and the entire field is waiting for me. They're going to follow me down. Every one of them follow me down.
And jumped.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't a jump because the water was up high enough that I just blew through. I mean, you didn't have but 6 or 8 inches on you.
I mean, this would have been
I don't know if you're smart or dumb like me, but that's pretty smart if you ask me.
Oh.
That saved you a long time.
I mean, you were in a, 18 or 19 foot boat with a 150 on it probably then, right?
482 Ranger with a 150. Yep.
Wow. That is
things will beat your teeth out.
Oh,
I gotta get more risky.
I think that's why.
Standing up here, I gave him the crappiest chair in the whole place today to sit in, and then he swapped with another guy. But
oh, yeah, it was a fun time. It was really. But the dude driving with me, you could have knocked his eyes out with a 2x4. He had no. I said, "Just trust me, Dan."
They didn't make the old crap handles the same way back then.
No,
as
they
do
didn't.
now neither.
No, they didn't.
My boat's got a little retractable one you pull up and hold onto like you're riding a bull.
Oh yeah.
And I don't drive like that. So, but now that's Trey said. I got nothing again.
I'm gonna have to do crazier stuff to top that.
You'll get disqualified if you.
Well, I've done that. I got some stories on that now.
We've all heard.
And the
that.
year's just getting started. So.
Right. You hadn't been disqualified this year yet.
Not yet.
No. All right. Let's keep it that way.
That's the plan.
Let's keep it that way. I want positive Trey stories. I want to come back in here and you be walking around like that SEC shorts guy that was for Vandy. He's a little pimp dude that's coming around like he had all that money. I want you to be coming in here like that with all that money you're winning.
Yeah, but you did it perfectly. I mean, you turned an aw shit moment. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Yep.
You turned an aw shit moment into a career. And I don't mean that that's all it's going to be, but it's a great story, and it got you out there, and you could giggle about it now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, his friends were giggling about it when it happened. So.
Yeah. My real friends called me like, "You idiot," you know. But no, the amount of people that have come up to me about that, I had no idea who I was until that is kind of unbelievable, to be honest. I never thought, it was weird because, and this is nothing against JT, he won that whole tournament, but I bet you I got more publicity out of that whole tournament than he did.
Sure.
And he went to the Classic. It was crazy. And I didn't think nothing about it, but.
We were talking about you, and that was it for that derby.
Yep.
Oh.
It was crazy.
You handled it well.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I'll say props to your mom. She raised a pretty good kid there. Despite all your efforts against that, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But and maybe the girlfriend's helping keep your ass straight now. I don't know. But,
it takes a lot of us.
So well, they say it takes a village.
Yep.
There we go.
Or two.
Or two. So next weekend, March the 8th, is the Freedom Marine Tournament that gives away all kinds of goofy money. 100th place pays as much as first place.
Really?
$5,000 first place, $5,000 for 100th place. Every 10th place between there pays $1,000, and every 5th place is $500 after the top 10 goes through a thing. So it's like, I mean, hell, I may not get to go fishing but once between now and then, but I'm signed up because somebody's got to win that.
Yeah, and if you own a Phoenix, actually fish out of it,
right?
Unlike me last year.
Oh, there's a Trey. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to wrap up, and I got to hear this.
Well, I just want to let everybody know that Freedom Tournament, like he was saying, is really cool tournament, really cool payout, because you can literally weigh in one bass and win $5,000. You can win just as much as the guy who wins, pretty much. But they also, if you run a Phoenix, they draw out like, I don't know how many exactly, but it's like 5 or 10 Phoenix owners, and you get $1,000. So, and the entry fee is $200. Last year, they called my name out. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then I forgot. I was like, whoa, I can't take that. We fished out of my buddy's bass cat. So there's another one. That's $1,000 down the drain.
And he was honest about it in front of everybody. So
yeah, now, I wasn't gonna lie.
And there was probably a gray area there because you do own a Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
You just didn't fish out of it.
I just didn't fish out of it, which I didn't even know. Honestly, I had no idea they did that till.
Oh no, there's there's extra money for the highest finishing Phoenix owner.
And that's all I knew about. But it's pretty cool how I won't never win it again. I'll fish the next 20 years, but I'm gonna be in my boat.
Yeah, I mean it's got highest finishing. I think there's a military one in there. I think
the parent-child too, right?
Parent-child, husband-wife, or well, couples type thing. I don't even think you got to be married.
I don't know if they do a high school.
I think there is a high school, but I don't know how they do that. I don't know if they allow 3 in there or not. But it's a really
cool
tournament. It's a cool thing. So that's next weekend. Last time I looked, I think he caps it at 200. There might have been 50 spots left. Everybody, you can pick your boat number if it's available. Like you can go on their website and you can go in there and you can pick it. And because I'm like this first boat in the 4th flight or something. I don't know where I'm going, so I just might assume to have the little warmer sunshine days in March. So, but it's a cool event if you like to fish tournaments, and if you feel lucky, you got to show up for it. So, Todd, Brandon, Dustin, thanks for coming in here today. I'm glad I got to finally meet y'all face to face. Tried to call you forever, couldn't get him to answer the phone. He answered the phone. So
that's about like me. He gets on me all the time too.
Trey, if you need to talk to Trey, start the week before. I'm not, for a man that doesn't have nothing to do, he's the busiest fellow I've met in my life. So
for a man who lives at his mom's house and he's 25, he don't never answer the phone.
He did answer a text message this week, but it was because y'all were here. It wasn't because of me. So
he didn't send me one.
Well, we'll take that up off the air here.
Yeah.
In just a minute.
All right, guys.
Gentlemen,
if y'all don't hear from me, y'all know what happened.
Yeah, gentlemen, thank y'all very much. Good luck in your tournament. If one of you wins, you're coming back before you leave. We're going to sit down here and you're going to say, hey, I got lucky, or I went where Trey told me to go, or whatever. So, so anyway, I hope y'all do well. Does it pay a bunch of places?
Yeah, probably 40 places.
Yeah, like 300 boats, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like somebody kicked an anthill out there the other day. There's people everywhere for a Tuesday. So, everywhere. So, well, until next time, everybody enjoy the floating grass, and we'll see y'all in a couple of weeks.